45% Steam rating on the day of launch, World of Tanks Heat. How did it go wrong that fast? We can safely say that this is one of the most negatively reviewed launch of a Wargaming major title. As per the community, the game has frequent crash, brutal grind, broken economics, massive content change from the alpha, unbalanced gameplay, developers ignoring the feedback. Please watch till the end because we will answer the question that you want to ask or that you have, whether World of Tanks Heat, is it worth it or not? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your effort? Is it worth your money? So we will break it down into parts and we will talk about the top 5 complaints that has plagued this game as per what I see on the Steam review and the other videos that I've watched. And just to let you know, before reviewing this video, or rather before reviewing this game, I have played a PvE game and a PvP game just so that I'm aligned to what this game is all about, not necessarily going by what people are saying on the internet blindly. So yes, I'm a player. I have done the beta testing as well. I played a couple of games and I agree to a lot of these things that have been said on the internet. So talking about the first complaint, which is crash and the technical chaos. Most common complaint is at launch. I think that's the foundation of one of most 1-star reviews that I have seen. A lot of times the game just opens, crashes, or you're loading into the match and it crashes. I think for a PvP multiplayer game, crashes are unforgivable because that's where your team loses all the advantage. As a person who has played about 50,000 games in World of Warships and World of Tanks combined, I know how a AFK player feels, because for World of Warships, which is my latest crush from last couple of years, a AFK DD means win or lose in a game. So I agree to what people are saying here. And also something that is to be noted, that developers also agreed that yes, they are aware that there is a crash issue and they're trying to fix it, but till now I don't think people have changed their opinion a little. So second complaint that I see is economy and grind. Just to give you a clear example, if in case you finish first, you have about 10 kills, you've only died once, you'll receive about 3 to 4,000 credits. You will see a couple of examples of this in the gameplay. So the 2 games that I played personally, you will see I made about 4,000 XP and I did about 20,000 damage in the PvP, and I think I did about 15,000 damage in PvE and about got 3,100 or 3,300 XP for the tank. So that's something which is questionable. They say that for an average new agent, it would cost you about 200,000 credits. That can easily be anywhere between about 80 to about 400 games, depending on how the player is playing or how lucky you have been. And a lot of the seasonal content is time gated. You miss a week, you miss it forever. So I think that needs to be checked, and I think developers need to be a little more lenient the way they have been with the World of Warships. Third complaint that we see is a content regression from alpha. Gaming is an emotion and gamers are generally emotional. If they are attached to a game since the beginning, they want to be heard, they want game to go in a certain direction. And towards the end, I'll talk about a game which a lot of you have heard of or maybe have played. So developers, they need to pay attention to that, and also they need to work towards how they can make this more community friendly, right, and have the community by your side. So the final release product of this game has about 4x less content than what we had in alpha, and I think a lot less than what we had in beta. Alpha had tanks with unique roles like repair, mine layers, fast brawlers. All are gone. Went from a strategic team synergy gameplay to a COD brain rot YOLO fest, like one of the players quoted. I believe community was not expecting that, and I think developers should address it if they want this title to become the next World of Tanks or World of Warships in the initial days and gain a huge number of player base. Number 4, developers not listening. The meta complaint that ties everything together is the distress in wargaming. Testers from alpha beta say that developers, they gaslit the community during Q&A sessions, and one of the most famous lines, and I quote one of the response: "Just because we did not go in your direction doesn't mean we didn't listen." And this is the quote. Wow. World of Tanks and World of Warships both are losing players from last 5-6 years. Steel Hunter, Wargaming's last hero shooter, it shut down month after launching. So I think Wargaming needs to pay attention to what people are saying if they want people to play this game. One of the games that I would give you a very good example of, and that did really well in last couple of months or last couple of years, is Manor Lords. Manor Lord initially received huge player base and huge applause from the critics and the players. They listened to the players, then they drifted off. Not too many updates, things didn't go right, but what they did the best was they came back to the community. They accepted that yes, there have been failures, and with the game growing that fast, things can go bad, and community accepted that. And in 2025, I think December is when they launched the last update update, and they have been addressing small issues since then. So I think that is a great way of bringing your player base back to the trusted area. Now let me show you some reviews wherein I think people who care about this game have talked about what they think and how this game should be going. I would not read them aloud. I would want you to go ahead and read them through. But then some of them are genuine feedbacks. Most of them are areas wherein I think Wargaming should take a look at and improve, because this game is as good as its player base. So if in case you are not able to get that player base fast initially, the game would struggle, and nobody wants $1 million project to struggle. Let me know if you know how much it costed for the Wargaming to put World of Tanks Heat on the screens that we are watching right now. But as a player, let me just put it across very clearly. I do enjoy gameplay, but I enjoy gameplay like World of Warships, and some gameplay which has a resemblance to that. I think that would work. One personal area where I think Wargaming should take a look at is the minimap or the radar. I think it is very crude, or the way it looks. It looks a lot like what you see in COD. I think that needs some improvement, or it at least needs an update. I'm sure as the game progresses, a lot of mods would be introduced, just like we have in World of Warships and World of Tanks. But I think initially that love the community needs from the developer, because if in case you do not focus on how this overall game would move right now, there would be a problem. The marketing team would be having a nightmare, I'm sure. I come from corporate as well, wherein I lead multiple projects and I lead a couple of marketing ventures as well. So if in case the initial launch is not very successful, people, they do get sleepless nights. So I'm sure they are also not having a very good time as Wargaming. But then somebody who has been with Wargaming products for about 15 years approximately, I think I would want them to succeed, because why would you not like to play a good game? Instead of that, you just get stuck onto an old game and you keep grinding. So I would definitely want this game to succeed. And my 2 cents, I quite honestly enjoyed the gameplay a little. Is there a scope of improvement? Absolutely. Do I want this game to succeed? Yes. And I'll be repeating myself once again towards the end, because I want you to have a positive aspect of how this game is functioning. You can always go ahead and point out the negatives, but then appreciate the effort. At the same point in time, a message to the developers: you should appreciate the community as well, because your game is as good the community is. So if you don't focus on building a community which wants to play this game with you, it can be a great product, but it might not fly off. So let's work on this together as community and developer, and I'm sure we would be fixing this game soon. Now, just to wrap it up, I think it is fixable. Crashes can be patched, but content and trust are harder to recover. Compared to Steel Hunters, is Heat heading in the same direction? You don't know. I think Wargaming has a lot of work to do in that direction. Let me know in the comment section, have you played this game? Drop your thoughts below, and please like, comment and subscribe if you want more such videos. Thank you, and you have a great day.